When people talk about classic BMWs, the same names always come up. The E30, the E28, the iconic M3, the legendary M5. But what if I told you there is one BMW that made all of those cars possible? A car so important that without it, BMW might not be the company we know today. Yet most enthusiasts barely talk about it. It wasn't the fastest BMW, it wasn't the most famous, and it certainly wasn't the most expensive, but it changed everything. This is the story of the BMW E12. The forgotten BMW that created a legend. Today, BMW is one of the most successful premium car manufacturers in the world. But rewind the clock to the 1960s and things looked very different. BMW's future was uncertain. The company had survived difficult years and desperately needed a winning formula. Then came a series of sporty sedans known as the New Class cars. They saved BMW. But by the early 1970s, BMW faced another challenge. How do you build on success? How do you create a car that moves the company forward without losing everything that made BMW special? The answer arrived in 1972. And it wasn't just a new car. It was the beginning of an entirely new identity. The E12 wasn't just another BMW. It was the very first 5 Series. Think about that for a moment. One of the most famous model names in automotive history started right here. Before the E12, BMW used a naming system that was far less organized. The E12 introduced a new era, a cleaner strategy, a modern lineup, a vision for the future. And suddenly customers knew exactly where the car sat within the BMW range. The E12 looked sharp, confident, purposeful. It wasn't trying to be flashy, it didn't need to be. Everything about the design suggested movement, even when standing still. But BMW's biggest achievement wasn't the styling, it was the way the car felt on the road. Because this wasn't a luxury car pretending to be sporty, and it wasn't a sports car pretending to be practical. It somehow managed to be both. Here's something interesting. Modern BMWs are famous for one thing: driving pleasure. The phrase ultimate driving machine didn't become famous by accident. Cars like the E12 helped create that reputation. BMW engineers focused heavily on handling, steering feel, balance, driver engagement. Words that are common today but weren't priorities for many family sedans in the 1970s. While competitors often focused on comfort above all else, BMW wanted something different. They wanted drivers to enjoy every journey, even the trip to work. Owners quickly noticed the E12 felt alive, responsive, connected. It encouraged you to take the long route home. And once customers experienced that feeling, they wanted more, much more. But then BMW did something that changed performance sedans forever. Most people know the BMW M5. It's one of the most famous performance sedans ever created, but few know where the story really began. The answer is the E12. In 1980, BMW launched the M535i, and suddenly the humble executive sedan had teeth. A powerful straight-six engine, aggressive styling, performance that surprised much more expensive cars. It wasn't officially an M5, but many enthusiasts consider it the spiritual grandfather of every M5 that followed. The idea was revolutionary. Take a practical family sedan, give it serious performance. Then watch what happens. The formula was so successful that it still exists today. And it all started with the E12. But despite its importance, the E12 would eventually find itself living in the shadow of its own successors. This is perhaps the biggest mystery of all. Why does nobody talk about the E12? The answer might be simple. The cars that came after it became legends. The E28, the E34, the M5. They grabbed the headlines. They became poster cars. And slowly the E12 faded into the background. But without the E12, none of those cars would exist. It created the blueprint. It established the formula. It showed BMW exactly what customers wanted. And perhaps that's why the E12 deserves far more recognition than it gets today. Not because it was perfect, not because it was rare, but because it changed the direction of an entire company. And in doing so, it helped create some of the greatest driver's cars ever built. The BMW E12 wasn't designed to become a collector's item. It wasn't built to dominate social media decades later. It simply had a job to do: create the future of BMW, and it succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. Today, when you see a modern 5 Series, an M5 or almost any driver's BMW, you're looking at part of the E12's legacy. A legacy that began more than 50 years ago. And while it may not receive the same attention as some of BMW's later icons, its impact on automotive history is impossible to ignore. The BMW E12 wasn't just the first 5 Series. It was the car that taught BMW who they wanted to be. And there you have it. The BMW E12. A car that rarely gets the spotlight, yet helped shape the BMW brand we know today. Not the fastest BMW, not the most famous, but arguably one of the most important. Now I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever seen an E12 in person, and do you think it deserves more recognition among classic BMW enthusiasts? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Car Passion for more stories about the machines that changed automotive history. We've got plenty more legendary classics coming your way, so don't miss the next one. Until then, keep your passion alive, keep those engines running, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Car Passion signing off.